Welcome to a slightly different video this week. One of those trips. You might be forgiven for thinking that every time I go out with my camera, I have a wonderful time and it all goes sweetly to plan. Fortunately, that just isn't the truth. And I have been through a little bit of a run lately where things just have not gone right, including a trip to Durdle Door, of which we'll see a bit in a moment. So I thought actually for the trip to Durdle Door, which was a complete whiteout in terms of coastal fog, it wasn't as if I learned nothing. So if you're up for it, I'm going to do a little bit based on that trip. There are going to be some pictures, so do join me as I make it on that trip and learn a little bit more about my camera, the Z6 Mark II, the D300, and some of their capabilities when it comes to shooting in low light. Good evening and welcome. I am at the famous Durdle Door, and according to weather and radar at the moment, we're right on the edge of some cloud here. Well, this is not a good start because at the moment I can't actually see any stars. What I can see is the mist in my own torchlight, basically. And a very, very heavy dew. So I think we could be in for issues both with the dew and also because we can't see stars at the moment. Well, sad to say, I have been down here on the beach now for, well, about an hour and a quarter, and I haven't seen a single star. There's a bit of a sea mist going on, but that doesn't mean there's nothing to do. I have been fiddling around, taking some pictures of the arch. You can at least see the arch. The arch itself is quite clear. I've had some issues with people with really bright lights about, but I think most of them have gone now, probably decided it's just not worth it. I've been macking around with just some long exposures, and particularly with the D300. It's currently doing a 10-minute exposure at ISO 200, so that could be interesting. I've tried some 4-minute, 3-minute exposures, different ISO levels. I'm just going to see how they compare. I might as well do something while I'm here. And also done some long exposures with the Z6 II. I haven't done anything at all with the Z7 II because there's just really no point breaking out another camera to do another very similar shot. So probably not a lot else to report at the moment. The shots do look quite moody, I've got to say. Oh, the other thing I've tried is I've done shots on the Z6 II with and without the NISI filter, the NISI natural light filter. And so, yeah, that makes really quite a big difference. There's a surprising amount of light pollution coming up from my left. And so there's this sort of glow across the sky, making it quite unevenly lit, but that unevenness disappears a lot when you use the natural night filter, and it doesn't go completely, but it's much, much less pronounced, so that's interesting. Okay, I'm going to have to turn my light off just in case I am annoying anybody, and if there's any more to report this evening, I'll come back to you. So what we're looking at here is on my screen we've got a number of images, and we'll just put those in display mode like that. That looks quite neat, doesn't it? I'd suggest that just looking at it at this level of resolution, you wouldn't be able to tell me which of these images was taken with the Nikon D300 and which of them was taken with the Nikon Z6 Mark II. Because looking at them here, I'm struggling to work it out. This first image, and you can probably tell here from the up in the top left-hand corner, I've got the basic information about the shot written into the name of the file. So this is a 180-second shot taken on the D300, and it's had some relatively basic processing, I think. If we look over on the right hand side here, I have increased the exposure a little because it was underexposed, and despite the 180 seconds shot, and f2.8. ISO though was low for nighttime, it was just 800. And that's because I was taking this as what I hoped would be my foreground shot, so that when the skies cleared, I'd be able to use this as my relatively low noise foreground. Now, I've made some basic adjustments to things like contrast, to the highlights, shadows, the blacks, etc. And a bit of dehaze, clarity and texture changes. And then the saturation, I have actually taken the saturation down. I have put some masks in on this, but I haven't done a huge amount to it. You know, I've made some basic adjustments to the foreground here. Again, similar to what I've just described. And then I think I also made some white balance adjustments. Yes, I made some significant white balance adjustments here. I normally, when I'm shooting at night, I'll start off with something like a 4000 Kelvin. I guess the most significant thing about this particular shot is the length of the exposure. This one is a 3-minute exposure. I also have a 485 second shot. Yes, 485 seconds. And there's almost no noise in this image. There's very little noise. I have enhanced it using the Lightroom Classic Enhanced Noise Reduction feature. But actually, without noise reduction, it was pretty clean. That's because I was shooting at 200 ISO. And what really struck me on this shot is that compared to the Z6 II, I have almost no hot pixels in this image. Now, if I go to an equivalent shot that I did a little later with the Z6 II, so let's find, so here's a 500 second shot taken with the Z6 II. And you can see that each of these little sticking plasters on here represents a hot pixel on the Z6 II. And gosh, just on this frame, there are 91 hot pixels in this image from the Z6 II, whereas on the D300 I have made one correction for a hot pixel. That's it, one. What is that telling us about the Z6 II and its sensor when it comes to using it for really long exposures? I had a similar experience when I was using the Z6 II and a few nights later when I went back, and I'll do a separate video on that. I had a similar experience there when I set the Z6 II going to do a time lapse of 300 20-second shot, and so you know it's working hard for a couple of hours. But what I do not understand is why there is such a huge difference between the performance of the sensor on the Z6 II versus the sensor on the D300. The other thing that struck me about the D300 image, it is just really clean when it comes to gradation across the screen from one side of the image to the other. Because we've got this area of brightness on the left hand side where we've got the light pollution coming from the campsite. It's actually a really bright light for the toilet block, and that was just lighting up the fog, and the light was bleeding all the way down to the beach here. But away to the right hand side it gets really quite dark, and you've got this beautiful smooth gradation from this lighter colour on the left through to the darker colour on the right. And on my monitor here there is no colour banding that I can discern at all, and this is from a Nikon D300. I just think that's amazing. Another thing to say about this image, or all of these images, is they do provide an unusual view of Durdle Door that we don't normally get to see, because as astro or night photographers, people who shoot astro landscapes, whatever you want to call it, we all head down there when the skies are nice and clear, or there's a little bit of drama going on in the sky. And this is about as minimalist a sky, and at these exposure lengths, so this is a super minimalist night image of Durdle Door. And at the time, looking on my camera, I thought actually they do look quite nice. Also on some of these images you've got differences in the white balance, and that is caused by a couple of things. Partly the differences between the cameras, there's a slight difference I guess in the colour science, but also in terms of the environment. There was someone up on the cliff top with a really bright head torch. This does my head in. More about that in the next video, by the way. Also, on the Z6 II images, some of them are taken without the NISI light filter, natural night filter on the camera, and those are the warmer colour images. And then the last three images down here, this one and this one and this one, these were all taken with the NISI night filter in place, and so that took a lot of that warmth out of the picture. And so the white balance settings between them, all of these pictures, are actually pretty much the same. And so it does show what a nice job I think the NISI natural night filter does. So it wasn't a complete waste of time. I did get some images that I actually quite like. They're really quite different for Durdle Door. So I'll leave you with this little slideshow, but do come back probably next week for the return visit to Durdle Door, because I can promise you that is a very different visit. To hide the price and all the gas.